Just like that, we're back. Views from Section 400. Matt, Brian, and Jack bringing you along for the action-packed sports entertainment episode. A happy college football rankings. Happy NFL trade deadline day. We got a action-packed week because, oh, by the way, college basketball is back as well. You see Brian smiling. I'm obviously pumped as well. College basketball's here. It's been a long summer. We're back again for what should be another fun year all the way up until March Madness. So can't wait to get into that. Stay tuned for the Thursday show. We'll dive into the nitty gritty of that starting of the season. Obviously, this is the recap show. This is the NFL Sunday. Going over all the games, and we will start off with a couple bangers that I can't wait to get into. But like I said, full NFL recap. We'll get right into it after a word from SeatGeek.
The weather may be getting cold late in the year, but the sports action is heating up. With the final stretch of the football season upon us and basketball season now here, the only place to go for the best tickets for each game is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast, and whether you're looking to sit courtside of the Sixers game, find a last-minute deal up in Section 400 for the Iron Bowl, or looking to just cheer on your alma mater in a preseason basketball tournament, SeatGeek's one-of-a-kind system helps you find the best deal for the best seats in the house. Use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, your best night ever is waiting. And now, the NFL recap.
But like I said, it's the NFL recap show, jumping through every single game, all the action from Sunday. And we start off with a big one. A team that I love, a team that Jack loves, and Brian's just in the middle looking to watch some fun. It's the Eagles that took on the Jaguars in what was a game the Eagles pretty much handled the entire time, right? They were up big. They let the Jaguars sneak back into the game, a couple questionable calls, and they made it a game at the end. I thought a horrible ending was coming for sure. Thought it was almost guaranteed, but Eagles take down the Jaguars 28-23. Jack did not get his Cinderella story on Sunday, but what'd you see, Jack? That some positives, negatives. What were you thinking? I mean, you thought they were down in the water, dead in the water, and they dragged you back in to think it gave you a little bit of life.
Nah, listen, we've been up touchdowns at the end of games this season in the fourth quarter and lost those games. So by all means, when we were down a touchdown the entirety of this game, and a touchdown plus at other points, I think it was 22-0 at one point, I didn't have a whole lot of faith, Matt. Even when we were making that comeback drive at the end, I still didn't have a whole lot of faith. I knew the Jags were going to jag it. And that's just the way that this offense has been. It really has. I got to say, some positives from the game. The defense at times really stepped up. The Eagles are a high-powered offense. You guys have a lot of good weapons. For us to hold you guys, in the way we did for most of the game was definitely impressive. Saquon Barkley is a freak of nature. He made us look so stupid. But Trayvon Walker got a moment for himself, picking up that fumble from Saquon, and just barreling through six people on his way to the end zone. We need to start thinking about putting him at a running back. I do love Tank Bigsby, but this man Trayvon Walker, he could make people bounce off of him like nothing else.
Can we talk about that fumble? Because I tweeted at you, and you said there were bad calls both ways. Now, I don't know if they changed the rule, and I just am that dumb, but last time I checked, if you get touched and then you fall to the ground, you're down. Saquon Barkley clearly got touched, and he fell down to the ground, and then the ball came out, and they called it a fumble, and then they confirmed it on the field. And I'm the last person to
they confirmed that call, so I don't know what you're bitching about.
They showed the replay, and his sock moved. Like, it was the dumbest call I've ever seen. I don't understand that at all.
I'm going to take the Jaguar stance here. Obviously, the way I saw it was Saquon got tripped up by his own offensive lineman and then hit the ground and fumbled the football. And Trayvon Walker did his thing. Now, obviously, if a Jags player had touched him, he would have been down. But it was his own offensive lineman, Brian.
We see it all the time, man. It's the NFL. They're trying to bring a team back into the game, making a call to make it close. I mean, I don't know why we're surprised. I mean, it's the NFL. It's what they do. This is
But
how
it
they
was
operate.
so egregious. And Jack, just to be certain here, you are sticking with the fact that it was his own offensive lineman that touched him and
Of
not.
course it wasn't.
Touchdown Jags, baby. Come on now.
Like, it's so blatant, dude. You say it's such a blatant call. You're right. It's so blatant how they just allow games to be close, how they script it one way or the other. And look, the refs were on the side of the Jaguars last night to try and give them some life and make that game more entertainment. It's an entertainment business, right? It's what they do. And them making that call, allowing that to stand, however you want to phrase it, allowed that game to be entertaining. Now, for me, it was heart attack and panic mode. But at the end of the day, the average fan is, and that's kind of what they're aiming for. They know the core fans are going to watch. So to entertain and appeal to the average fan, Brian, who's just watching, has no skin in the game. You want to see that call. I'm surprised you're surprised, Brian, because you want to see that call because you want to see an interesting ending. So that's what I think their angle was there.
I guess. And yeah, the refs made it interesting. And then Nick Sirianni going for 2 and not getting it on every single touchdown.
I mean, this guy's ridiculous.
I have never seen a team up by 20 points getting booed by their damn fans in their own stadium. It's insane. Why don't you just kick the damn field goals? Make people happy. Like, I understand that this is your MO, and in the big times when you have to make those decisions, do it. But dude, you're playing the Jags at home. You got a 20-point lead. Just take the fucking points.
I just think he likes playing with fire. He likes gambling. He's playing with, and it's what he does. It's like you said, it's how he operates. It's how he is a coach. I mean, the only good thing, or not, I don't even know if it's good, but like I get it. He's sticking to his guns. He's not letting people change the way he coaches the game. He's sticking to how he coaches. I can respect that. I can respect having a backbone. But when you play with fire too many times, it's going to start to cost you. And the moment that it flipped, like, everybody's all booing them this and that right now. But the moment it starts turning into losses, which is kind of what we saw in the beginning of the year against the Falcons, it's not going to be good. And luckily, they're 6-2, with 2 huge division games coming up. Now, if they're 500 or a game or two under 500, these questionable decisions come back to bite you in the ass and possibly have you out of a job right now.
And last thing on Nick Sirianni, because I know that he's, like you said, playing with fire. But he said he has a backbone. He had a 4th and like a foot. And instead of running the tush push, he ran the play that lost him the game against the Falcons. And it almost lost him the game again.
Double down. Well, you never seen somebody double down before, Brian?
He like quadrupled down and lost every time.
That's what he does. Look, they're 6-2. They got to share a first place or whatever half game. I don't know how it is, but they're essentially tied for first place. They got a game against the lifeless Cowboys coming up, and then they got a home Thursday night football game against the Washington Commanders, which should be an awesome game, by the way, at the Link. Yeah. If all these go against them, which they did, but they're still winning games, so it's like, how much can you really fault it? Until they start actually losing games because of it, multiple games, that's when it's an issue.
No, you're absolutely right. You keep on doing this, you keep winning. You Dan Campbell yourself as a hero for your franchise, and if you start losing games, you're going to Brandon Staley yourself out of a job. There's no doubt about it.
That's exactly right. And I was just saying, A.J. Brown wasn't playing for most of this game either. So that's, it's nice to see the Eagles win and close the game and put up points without. It seems like when he's off the field not playing, the offense takes a full 180 and doesn't produce. So I think that's something to note. Jalen Hurts still played very well. And there was no A.J. Brown, but Devonta Smith spec'd up huge, which is expected. We're not, he got paid the big contract. Needs to step up, and he did. So for that reason, I'm still all in on the Eagles. They're looking good, and some tougher matchups. Look, Cowboys are lifeless. Guaranteed going to be a tough game next week when we have to go to Dallas and play that. Guaranteed.
I don't know if Dak is out and potentially CD too. I think you're going to be all right.
Are they both going to be out?
Be much worse than having a bad quarterback throw up your third string running back for the win. I don't even think the Cowboys, as how putrid they are doing shit like that.
I was really trying to get by this segment without having to bring that up, Brian. But yeah, what on earth was that play call to end the game? The Trevor Lawrence throws a game-sealing pick to Nakobe Dean. It was a hell of a play by the linebacker, the young man. But what on earth is that play call? Throwing up a jump ball to your third-string running back.
You had Evan Ingram. You had Brian Thomas Jr. Even Parker Washington.
I don't. Brian Thomas Jr. was doubled basically all game, but Evan Ingram needs to be the guy there, not the third string running back, not the first string running back, not the second. Not a running back. Throw it up to the 6'7" tight end. I mean, what are we doing?
Even Luke Carroll had some catches.
It was a terrible play design. You can fault Trevor Lawrence all you want for making the throw. It was first down. And you can fault him all you want for making that throw, but that is, if you go back and watch, the other receivers covered on that play, that was probably the best option, which is crazy to say after, again, jump ball to your third string running back.
Bad play calling by the coach and the coaching staff. Sure, I get it. But at what point do you fault Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, you have to be a competent quarterback and be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lob it up to my backup third string, whatever running back. I'm going to make the smart decision, get it to the huge tight end, get it to somebody else.
But that's what I'm saying is on that play specifically, he had no options. That was the best, in my opinion, that was the best throw for him to make other than throwing it out of bounds.
Call an audible. I mean, there's got to be some play.
I mean, it was in the middle. I'm talking about Trevor went through his progressions and decided that was the best throw, and I can't blame him for it because the other four guys
quarterback.
What if I hate giving Trevor Lawrence the benefit of the doubt, but what if it was a smart play because he simply wants to get Doug Peterson out of Jacksonville? And he's like, I'm going to show you how.
I don't know that that's just.
I think that's happening either way at this point. Maybe we're just going for a better draft pick, sure. Like, if we're really in tank mode, sure.
He's too good of a Christian, faithful man to do something that evil and try to get another man fired. I don't think that was his take at all.
Doug may really be getting under his skin, and he's just like, fuck this guy. I'm going to throw up the Ernest Johnson.
Well, it didn't work out, and the Eagles go to 6-2. Can we move on to the Commanders and the Giants? Because Brian, the Jags and the Giants. The Jags and the Giants are essentially the same team in terms of just being really bad at football.
Well, we've been over this. They're essentially the same team, but the Giants at least have a direction they're starting to go in terms of rebuilding. The Jags still want to be.
What direction are they going in?
They understand. I think everyone in that front office understands they have to rebuild, and the Jags are still trying to hold on to some semblance of being a playoff team. That's the difference.
I can agree to that to an extent.
I think you need to keep that mentality of we're going to be a playoff team next year,
And that's what will kill you in the long run.
Why? We have the quarterback. We have defensive.
Don't have the quarterback. We've been over this.
All right, let's continue with the Giants and the Commanders. We're not talking about
the Giants don't have the quarterback either. Daniel Jones threw his first touchdown in 630 days at MetLife, and it got him to 0 yards. His first half, he was 4 for 6 for 0 passing yards and a passing touchdown.
Yeah,
this is the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft. $50 million a year.
That was pretty funny. I mean, Brian, everyone
was not even a backup.
No. Everyone was making a big deal out of the Daniel Jones stat line of 0 yards and 1 touchdown, but Jaden Daniels had the same thing to open up that game as well.
Yeah, but look at what Jaden Daniels has done this year.
He had 4 yards and a touchdown.
4 yards looks a lot better than 0 when you have the touchdown.
I can give Jaden Daniels a pass for what he's been able to do this year.
Yeah, it's just
Jones. He's been horrendous.
We made fun of the Eagles for going for two, but at least they're a good football team that you expect to get some 2-point conversions. Like the whole analytics play when you're down 14, of course, go for two because you get it half the time. So you go twice if you don't get it the first time, and you're going to get 14. The Giants, their analytics go to like 20%. There's no reason they should be doing that. And it never works. And they put themselves in a hole again. They lost their kicker against the Commanders the first time around, put themselves in a hole. And then they go for two down 14 and don't get it.
I was going to say, they don't have a kicker, dude.
They had a kicker. And Dable was coaching like he didn't have one. It's a mess. It's such a mess.
Did you watch the game, Brian? Like, did you sit there and watch, like, from first snap to last snap? Like, you watched this entire game, and you're like, damn, it's been 5 years. They drafted Daniel Jones before COVID.
Yep.
Pre-COVID.
Yo, shout out your boy Theo Johnson. That's who caught it, right?
Yeah, he caught or no, it was the backup tight end caught the touchdown, but Theo had the second one.
Oh, was it Manners?
Who?
Who's the tight end that caught it? Manners?
I guess.
No idea.
I don't even know who the third. It might start with an M, but it wasn't Daniel Bellinger and it wasn't Theo Johnson. But Theo had.
Yeah, was it Chris Manhurts? You don't know your own third string tight end?
No, I do not.
Giving me shit about Brenton Strange. You don't even know your own tight ends.
Yeah, Theo did have a good game though, and Tyron Tracy played well. Devin Singletary needs to be sent to the gulags. I don't know why he's still on the roster. Give Tyron Tracy every carry. The Giants stink.
Not very good at all. And I don't think they need any more time on a segment. But the Commanders are great. And it's probably, definitely wasn't on our 2024-2025 bingo cards of Commanders, Eagles fighting it out for the division. Maybe Eagles. But Commanders, I don't think was on anybody's bingo cards. And don't say it was on yours, Brian. You might have been high horsing Jaden Daniels, but you were not going him for division.
If you remember the NFC East preview, I said the Commanders were going to make the playoffs, and you both looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, because that was a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, just like Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman and Rookie of the Year was crazy at the time.
Yeah, it was.
And now I understand you're hard on for Chris Manhurts, Jack. I looked up his career statistic.
Yeah. He's an old Jag, bro. He used to be on the Jags. Dude, we've got old tight ends all around the league. We still got Mercedes Lewis kicking.
And he got last week.
What was that?
Nah, go ahead.
I didn't have anything.
Oh, Brian, what did you say?
He caught a pass last week on National Tight Ends Day.
I did see that.
They got the guy back out there. But moving on here, ugly game for Bo Nix, who you guys hyped up last week. Ravens win 41-10 in just an absolute ass kicking. The Broncos come back to life or come back down, onto earth as they get kind of a game that this is the outcome expected. This is the outcome that happened.
Yeah, after Lamar just lost to the Browns, he decided to absolutely take it all out on Bo Nix and this Denver team. 3 touchdowns for him, 2 for Derrick Henry. He had almost 300 yards passing. Derrick Henry had 100 yards on the ground. Zay Flowers, beast of a game. I mean, they just did whatever the hell they want and had fun doing it. Broncos, we're at the mercy, honestly, and it sucks for them that they had to catch the Ravens right after a loss.
Yeah, it was really. I mean, Bo Nix didn't look terrible. If you would have told my freshman year self that Auburn would get a 5-star quarterback that would then transfer to Oregon, almost win a Heisman Trophy award, and catch a touchdown in the NFL on a play that the Eagles used to win the Super Bowl, I probably would have called you crazy, but that's exactly what happened on Sunday. And I'm still can't believe it. But yeah, he did not look great, but he caught a touchdown. So that's the highlight of that game.
Is it?
Yeah. Look, I mean, like the Broncos, we talked about it. The Broncos had a nice, easy cupcake schedule to start their season and help them get to a 5-3 start. And now they got a tough stretch. They're going to start losing some good teams. I don't know if they're making the playoffs. I really don't think they will.
No, they're because, and we'll get into the other game in a second here, but the Chargers just won. So that's a team they were kind of having to keep pace with. Probably going to be one or the other who sneaks in as a wild card team. Full advantage to the Chargers right now.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Broncos are going to be able to hold off the Jets by the end of the season.
Yeah, not with how they looked on Thursday night.
No, maybe run the show. I'm not getting no. I'm not all in on the Jets just yet.
Well, that might not even be a playoff race.
No.
That might be towards the end because you still have the Bengals. The whole North in the AFC besides the Browns could be in the playoffs. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of
The AFC and the NFC.
yeah.
Brian's getting
Ridiculous.
hard after a win over
Well,
the Raiders.
I guess not the Bears. I guess not the Bears.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bears. They look putrid.
They're like future, but we'll keep it rolling here. Bills took on the Dolphins in a game that Brian had as a very high confident pick. Jack and I were not taking the trap. Bills get it done 30-27, a bit closer than I expected, but the Bills get it done at home.
Shit, Josh Allen owns his team. Brian, again, what were you thinking?
I mean, the Dolphins looked good for the whole game, and they let Ray Davis score a 70-yard touchdown, and everything just went to shit from there. But the Dolphins were right there. They're cursed. They're not gonna do it. They're dead.
They're cursed, not going to do it. It's just a franchise that I don't know that they're ever going to get over the hurdle, right? Like they loaded up the defense. I guess they had some injuries. Offense is loaded up. Figure, hey, we can get it done with our guy Tua. Granted, got injured a bit, but maybe Mike McDaniel just isn't as good as everybody fell in love with him being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his offense is weird. Like I know
It's
Devon
weird.
a great player, but like there's no need to just spam him when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
And he just got out coached by Doug McDermott.
No, I couldn't even remember his proper name, but yeah, Doug's the Creighton legend. Sean.
Yeah, isn't it Sean McDermott?
Yeah, I couldn't even think of his real name.
Yeah, nobody knows. See, that's what I mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of McDermotts, but I think we might be a little too harsh on McDaniels and this Dolphins team right now. Like Brian said, it was a pretty competitive game. They only ended up losing it by 3 points. This was in Buffalo. This is a 7-2 Bills team. Like they're playing damn good football right now. There could be greener days ahead for this Dolphins team.
I just think they could play close games. They could be competitive. I don't know that they have the juice, the football IQ, and the whole coaching staff to close out games.
Yeah, I mean, I think their issue for me has always been durability. Tyreek, these guys are all built for speed and not, stability, I guess you could say. But Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, these guys are always getting banged up, like game in and game out. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But if they stay healthy from this point on, I think they can. I really do.
If they were 3-5, maybe, but 2-6, I don't know if they can. They can really only afford 2 more losses, and they'd still need help. I don't see it.
If they let Kyler Murray go in there and beat him up.
Kyler Murray's been looking. The Cardinals look pretty good.
Yeah, they're looking sharp.
Can't say I didn't tell you. But we'll jump into them in a minute here. I want to jump over to Cleveland. You had a Jameis giveth and Jameis taketh away. Cardinals win or Chargers win 27-10. Is the Jameis Winston era over?
No, this is Jameis Winston. He's going to have his games where he throws 3 touchdowns, and then he'll have another one where he throws 3 interceptions. And I don't think the LASIK really fixed him. Maybe it helped him see the race of his coach better. Did you guys see that quote? That was crazy.
No, what was it?
He said he thought Bruce Arians was black before he got LASIK.
I think that was a joke.
Yeah, but just Jameis being Jameis is funny.
That's definitely had to be a joke, but wild comment nonetheless.
Yeah, but the Browns they just got to let Jameis go be Jameis for the rest of the year and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, what are they playing for? Nothing. Draft picks, like that. I mean, that's all they have left in the tank at this point. You
Yeah,
know,
they're dead in the water. They need to just let Jameis cook. I mean, this is the dude who led the league in passing while leading the league in interceptions thrown. So just let him cook, see what happens. I mean, honestly, don't give up on him. Try and develop him a little bit. See what you have for next year. I don't know if you're this Browns team though. Are you moving big pieces like Garrett?
Well, you see, my
Whoa.
dad went on Get Up and had a trade proposal that made the whole staff of Get Up walk off the set and laugh at him. He said they should trade Myles Garrett to the Lions for 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and Jahmyr Gibbs. In what world did the Lions make that trade?
You know, I think it would take a lot to get a Miles Garrett, but that might be too much. I mean,
That's
That's not
four
worth it.
first-round picks, basically, and a second-round pick.
yeah, that's
So
just
dumb.
unrealistic. It's not going to happen. But I
Look,
don't
I
think
mean,
it's out of the realm of possibility for us to see Garrett get dealt today.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like it makes perfect sense. The Browns have absolutely nothing to play for this season. The Lions just had Hutch go down. He could be a perfect replacement for a team that is looking like Super Bowl contenders. So why not do that deal?
Yeah, the Lions
Not
are
why
in
not
full blown.
why not do a deal, not that deal?
Okay, I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah,
They could definitely make a deal. I mean, the Lions are in Super Bowl or bust mode. So if I don't see them make a move today, I think if I'm a Lions fan, I'm a little disappointed in the front office just not shoring up our roster a little bit more. And I get it; they're already good. They already look like the favorites. They already look like the number one team to make it out of the NFC. But if you're in that position, why do you not set your roster up a little bit more? Get a little bit closer. Grab that one extra piece that could put you over the edge come February and propel you to a Super Bowl title. That's how I would be thinking as a Detroit Lions fan right now is how can my front office, how can my organization get that much better, a little bit better? Make that one move on deadline day, that move you look back 6 months ago or 3 months ago, and you're like, wow, remember when we made that move on deadline day? And this guy's making an impact. That's what you have to go do, I think, if you're the general manager, if you're the owner. Make the roster a little bit better. Get a little bit closer. You're already there. Why not, nail in the coffin and really go for it?
I think that's you said it very well. That's a great call. I mean, if you're the Lions, go get a Max Crosby from a 2-7 Raiders. Go get a Brian Burns from a 2-7 Giants team. You know what I mean?
They're
Go
not
get
trading
yourself
Brian Burns.
go get yourself an elite pass rusher from one of these teams that isn't playing for anything this year, and go win that damn Super Bowl. Come on, damn.
I think they're good enough. I mean, I could see them. You bring up Brian Burns, that's not happening. But they might trade for Aziz Alogiari. Alogiar. I can't even say his name. Aziz. He's
Oh,
having
Jalari.
Ojulari. Great day for me and being a Giants fan on this podcast today. Yeah, but they could trade for him. Zadarius Smith's out there. I don't think they need to break the bank for like a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby if he's available.
No, but you can go make a move like I just tried to, explain to get a little bit closer. Okay, you're already there. Put the nail in the coffin. Shore it up 100%. Like, obviously, nothing's guaranteed, especially in this league. But, like, go get yourself a little bit closer when you're
Yeah.
already there. I don't know why
And
you wouldn't.
Yeah,
Brian, I don't think you necessarily have to break. I mean, look, I'm talking about premier players. I'm not trying to discount that in any way, shape, or form. But these are premier players on 2-7 teams. We see teams move off of guys to just get something going forward for the rebuild, as you want to call it. So,
Yeah, and
I don't know if you really have to give 3 first-round picks and Brock Bowers for Max Crosby, or you know what I mean. It's like stupid shit like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't even trade like two. If you call the Browns and they ask you for 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, I'm not making that trade. If they ask for a first round and maybe like a third round, sure. But I'm not, especially the Lions are really good at drafting. They're really young. They're in a position where they can run the NFC like the Chiefs have the AFC for the next decade. I don't want to
They
risk that.
That's actually a good point. They've been drafting super well, where their draft picks might mean more than other franchises right now, and that's a little facetious, but at the same time, they've been hitting. They have been hitting.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but you
but
don't.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say you don't have to give up your high draft cap. You don't you can
Yeah,
give up a fourth and a sixth and get something decent back on a roster that's already loaded. We've already highlighted these young players that are playing very well at a high level. You don't have to give up a first round pick or a second round pick or whatever it might be. Give up a fourth and a sixth and go cherry pick at the end. That's will look good on this roster since you have other pieces to put around them.
yeah. No, I agree. I think they will. I just wouldn't break the bank for a Myles Garrett, is what I'm saying.
So, other than the Lions, what team are you looking forward to making a deal today? That if they don't make a deal, you're like, damn, how did they not go and get a little bit closer? And I'll start. I think the Philadelphia Eagles should be active today.
Of course you do. What do you think they need?
Shore up the defense. Go cherry pick a guy. You go get Max Crosby. You go try and make a deal with the Raiders to get something done. You need the D help. You need the help like all day. So you go make a deal for Crosby, a 2-7 Raiders team that's dead in the water. That you want to talk about teams that are tanking that have a direction. What direction are the Raiders going in?
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, Brock Bowers and
Okay.
that rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, look, go. So again, that would be everybody's dream wish list to get a guy like Crosby, who's just seems like a great dude, great player, great energy, great chemistry, like the whole thing with him. Um, yeah, go make a deal for him. Are they going to do it? I don't see it, but you never know with Howie Roseman, man.
I'm gonna give you another team that I want to see make a deal, and Brian's gonna love this one. The Washington Commanders. I want to see them go get another receiver for Jaden Daniels there. Terry McLaurin has been awesome. Noah Brown has come in and stepped up immensely, but I need to see them get another receiver to complement Terry McLaurin. It's all on him right now, and it's been working for him, but with Brian Robinson banged up and Austin Eckler as like the only actual running back they have there. Sorry, McNichols. It's they need more weapons, and they have a damn good team. So I want to see them do this.
Yeah, I would love them to trade for a receiver. I don't know
I mean,
who's.
who's another team? We kind of talked about it. Let's see the Arizona Cardinals go out and get active. I mean, they're right there in the hunt.
Yeah, I think they would be another team that would look for something on the defensive side of the ball. I think
Yep.
their offense is pretty dang good right now. Maybe O line help, but that's kind of a tougher piece to get.
Yeah, they need a lot. Is the issue.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
playing
but
well.
they're
They're
playing
playing
well,
well.
dude.
But can you see them I don't know, put just for let's say they get Max Crosby. Is he gonna be the reason they win a Super Bowl? Are they good enough to win a Super Bowl with Max Crosby?
No, but I think that gives them a new legitimate edge.
Yeah, but then you have the whole thing where I don't know. I think they need to save their draft capital.
I would agree. I think they need more than just one piece on defense. You know what I mean? I think they need multiple pieces on defense.
I think their
Yeah,
offense.
I mean, well, let's jump on to the game that I picked incorrectly and you guys picked correctly, and that's going to be the Falcons over the Cowboys, 27-21. We saw Dak get hurt. Did he get benched? Who knows? CeeDee Lamb gets hurt. Jerry Jones expresses optimism that he's going to be able to play through the injury. Nonetheless, an AC joint injury, whether he plays or not, is probably an injury that is going to bother him for the rest of the year. Cowboys are pretty dead in the water as it just seems like things go from bad to worse every week with this team.
Mike McCarthy needs to be fired. He should have been fired in third quarter of this game when he ran a fake punt pass on his own 38-yard line down by 4 points. What the fuck are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It was a terrible. It was. I don't like the play call, but it was also just awful execution.
It's your punter throwing the football. You can't blame the execution at all.
What?
Your punter's throwing the football. You expect them
That's
to
what I'm
execute?
saying. I mean, but okay, I understand your point. Like, why are you even having your punter throw the football? Yes, I understand that as well. Look, I'm with you. McCarthy was never a fan of him getting signed by Dallas in the first place. I mean, obviously, you guys were as Eagles and Giants fans. You guys are happy as hell that he's still there. But no, the rest of us, we hate watching this Cowboys team with Mike McCarthy as the coach. We really do.
Yeah, I hope he's there the next 10 years.
But Dak, I think he may have like fractured his hand or something like that. I think he was getting tests on his hand or something like that. So Dak might be out. CD with the AC joint might be out. Things are not looking good for the Cowboys. The Eagles should steamroll them next week. I really think the Cowboys need to be looking towards next year already.
I don't see how you
Yeah,
can.
are they a team that gets active on the selling front today as the trade deadline rolls on?
They should be.
I don't really know what do they have to sell though?
Micah Parsons, don't re-sign him.
Yeah, that's the piece.
I guess so, man, because that's the one dude that they haven't given the contract to yet, and we know CD and
if it's
Dak
still
got
going
paid,
in this,
so.
if it's still going in this direction, what is re-signing Micah Parsons in the offseason going to do? If you kind of already see the product you have, right? I mean, you're just going to redo it all again, but just hurt yourself on the salary cap.
I could see him going to Houston.
That'd be.
I see him go to Philly. Nah, the Cowboys have half a brain, which I don't know that they do. They're not going to make a deal with Philly. No shot. Although the Giants, well, I guess they didn't really have a choice. The Giants, they just didn't re-sign them.
Yeah, but Joe Schmo knew the Eagles were calling. He knew exactly where that was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the Cowboys remind me a lot of the 2022 New York Mets. Or 20. Whenever they had Scherzer and Verlander, and just they paid two guys that suck, and the rest of the team stunk around them.
Except CeeDee Lamb doesn't suck.
Yeah, the issue is he doesn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball.
Right. And that's also a lot of money tied up. But CeeDee Lamb is very, very premier. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, not premier, not elite. He gets hyped up to be elite. He gets hyped up to be, Pro Bowl talent. Jack, didn't you have Dak Prescott like in your top 5 of the quarterback rankings?
No, he had him in the bottom half.
I am not a Dak.
But yeah, it was Trevor Lawrence you had up there in the top 10.
And I still do.
That's crazy.
Although I think some guys deserve to be moved up a little bit.
No shit.
Like, Kirk and Baker, they're the first two to come to mind playing great ball this year.
I mean, you absolutely disrespected Jalen Hurts on that list.
Jalen Hurts came in at like fucking number 7, dude. What do you want from me?
I thought you had it outside the top. I got to relook at the list then. Maybe I'm getting mixed up.
You're chirping on the list. You don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rile you up.
I gave him some respect. I gave Jalen Hurts some respect, man. He's as far as dual threat goes, pretty stinking elite. Different than Lamar in the running aspect, but definitely elite as a dual threat quarterback.
He's balling out right now, and
he's got like 30. He had 30 going into the season. He had like 30 rushing touchdowns over the last 3 seasons or something like that. But like, how do you not include that man in your top 10?
Yeah, he's playing back at an elite level. We saw, a bit of a rocky start other than the Packers game. He cleaned up the turnover issues. He cleaned up the decision making. The football IQ's gotten a lot better, and the awareness in the pocket has gotten a lot better. And that's why we're seeing just a night and day difference in the quarterback play Jalen Hurts is doing right now, and really just the rest of the team, Eagles wise, is feeding off of it. And that's why we're seeing, probably the hottest team on paper right now is what's that? 4 straight wins and 4-0 in the Baldiani era. It's 4-0, Brian. It's what it is. You can shake your head all you want. It's what it is.
Yeah, you guys are on a 4-game win streak.
Jack,
4-0 in the Baldiani era.
You had Jalen Hurts at 9.
You want to do?
I had Hurts at 9 and Trevor at 10, didn't I?
Hold on. Brian has no right to shake his head at the Baldiani as we sat here for half a summer and an entire playoff run of the purple, grimace, gay, LOL, this, that, and the third Mets for fucking almost 4 months.
Get your acronyms right. Oh my God.
Nonsense.
OMG, not LOL.
Whatever the hell you want to call it. The this, that, and the third Mets. I'm absolutely going to just be a Baldiani enthusiast, truther. That's what I'm doing here. That's what it is. If Brian could sit here for 5 months or whatever it was and go off about the this, that, and the third Mets, I'm absolutely going to be a Baldiani truther.
Yeah, you know what? You know what this means? The Jags need something crazy like a new mascot or some shit like that. That's what we need.
You fumbled the bag because your quarterback sucks. You renamed your stadium Trevor Bank.
Yeah. You definitely did do that. I forgot about that.
Ryan, that was a fucking one-time thing.
It's
Let it go.
So was Grimace. Grimace threw out the first place once.
That lasted way too long.
So you think that if we had ended up winning that game, this would have been known as the Trevor Bank season? That's a reach.
If you win that game by a lot, the next game at home, they're all calling it Trevor Bank, and then you're 2-0 at Trevor Bank, and then you could be 3-0 at Trevor Bank. There'd be a graphic like the Jaguars are 4-0 since renaming the stadium to Trevor Bank. It'd be a thing.
Damn, I'm pretty sure that's a dream I once had. All right, let's move on to the next game. The freaking Panthers pull off the upset, beat the New Orleans Saints 23-22. Saints fans are in dismay. Cam Jordan was tweeting saying, Saints fans, you guys deserve better. I really didn't think we were going to be this bad. But there's somebody else on Twitter that's making a lot of headlines. Michael Thomas, former Saints receiver, is going at Derek Carr's neck. Brian, give me more on it.
Yeah, dude said, this is Michael Thomas at about 2 p.m. after Chris Olave goes out with a concussion. Dude, scary and panic and just throw the ball. Get him the F out of here. He's so ass. Dude tried to lie and say I was jealous of them making Chris WR1. Whole time he can't even give him a decent ball. He needs his ass whooped. They fired all them coaches trying to cover his flaws, and he's still doing the same shit.
Look, Derek Carr is out there playing. Michael Thomas is, injuried himself out of the league. I don't know how to word it, but I mean, look, Derek Carr's still out there playing. Michael Thomas isn't. I think Derek Carr handled it perfectly in the press conference. He had no beef with Michael Thomas. He always tried to help the guy, so to speak, always tried to reach out to him. And Michael Thomas, like I said, just injured, and now is irrelevant, not in the league, sitting on the couch on Sunday tweeting at his former quarterback, no support, no, why bring down a team like that? And I get it, it's bad play. It's really bad play. But to go out and just bash the guy all over Twitter, does that make you a better man? Does that make you a bigger man? Does that make you that just makes you look like a coward.
Yeah, he looks like an ass. I think, honestly, he probably just wants to get invited onto the podcast rounds and become relevant.
Yeah, because, there's no reason to do that.
It's that or CTE.
It's probably a mix of both. But we also had today Josh Olave, who I'm going to assume is Chris Olave's brother.
Yeah.
Uh, he tweeted a meme that just says, "F it, we back," with LeBron um, backpedaling back to a press conference booth. But I'm assuming it was after Dennis Allen got fired, and Michael Thomas retweeted that.
Wait, Dennis Allen got fired today?
Yeah, and Michael Thomas also retweeted a stat from ML Football. Dennis Allen is the first coach in NFL history to be fired by two different teams, both times the same starting quarterback. You've got fired with the
How
Raiders.
does Dennis Allen, and again, that's a bad loss, and the Saints went from like literally being the hottest team in the NFL to like horrible. But how does he get fired and there's still coaches out there that still like Doug Peterson still has a job. We could look at Brian Dable. How does he still have a job?
Brian Dable's
We,
not the problem.
Wait,
he's
can we
not.
talk about how sick that stat was from Antonio Brown? Like
How does he still have a job?
of all people dropping that stat, Antonio Brown, CTE ESPN, that was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great sideline reporter.
I don't think they let him anywhere near the field anymore, Matt.
Uh,
Last time didn't go so well.
no, it didn't. Hilarious though. We need more of that in the NFL. Um,
More
but I'm
people.
being serious, man. How I don't was Dennis Allen supposed to, is he really the real fall guy here? I mean, is that the right move you have to make?
Well, it might be Derek Carr, and they just like him too. He's too likable to get blamed for these issues, and that's what Michael Thomas is trying to say in his own kind of degenerate way.
Well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the last year on Carr's contract, and he needs to go.
Yeah, he'll be out of there. I mean, you need to tank now, maybe draft a quarterback in the upcoming draft and move on. But yeah, Bryce Young's here, elite quarterback, like I've been trying to tell you guys all year, and they finally gave him a chance to shine. And Bryce Young is elite.
No.
Huh? That's your takeaway from this?
Nah, man, I'm just joking around. But Bryce Young, I mean, he won a football game. I didn't think it was possible in the National Football League. We thought he might never play another snap. Was that you, Brian, or Jack? Somebody had that take of he's never going to play a snap again. Hell, he just went out and won a football game.
I told you guys, you want to go back to the tape. I told you he'd be playing again this season.
Maybe it was Brian who said he's not going to play another snap.
I think I did, and then backtracked and said he'll play again in the mop-up role, and then
It was like half joking.
No, I'm pretty sure you said he will never play another snap in a Carolina Panthers jersey.
Yeah, that was the take. That was the take. But not only did he play another snap, he won a football game doing it against a team that I don't think anybody had the Panthers winning this game. And it's just classic, everybody's all over the Saints. They're like, oh, Bryce Young's back. No chance they win a game. Somehow, some way, man, get it done. It's unbelievable. And this win's going to still hurt the Panthers because there's no reason they should be winning football games.
No, I'm gonna assume that Canales gave him the game ball, and Bryce Young should go right ahead and give that game ball to whoever got in the car accident with Andy Dalton, because that's the only reason he was able to win this game.
Yeah, I think so. But we don't need to go too in depth in that game. Two franchises that need to turn it around and probably need a couple of years to do so. But we jump over to a team that this is, I think, how Brian expected Joe Burrow to be playing all year. And the Bengals put up 41 against the lifeless Raiders. 41-24. Joe Burrow's back, looks electric. Another coach. It seems like the world of hot seats. Why is Antonio Pierce still employed?
Yeah, straight up. Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns. Looking good on the touchdown prop over there for Bry, but
That's 20.
Matt, as good as Joe Burrow and the Bengals look, you're right. This is about Antonio Pierce and the Raiders just being such a dog shit team.
I mean, they just looked unprepared. Like there's a lot of tape on what the Bengals are, who the Bengals are. I get it. It was a get right spot for the Bengals, but I mean, they just had no answer for anything the Bengals threw at them. They were just completely just like outmatched, overmanned. It seemed like such a night and day difference. And like I said, it seems like Antonio Pierce did not have, his guys prepared one bit for this football game. And Brian, I don't know how you even talk shit on this guy because Antonio Pierce, giant legend, but I mean, surely you got to be thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for your service to the player, Antonio, but you're a terrible head coach in the NFL. It is what it is.
Like, great interim head coach, horrible assumed position of the full time role. Like, right, a guy they can bring in, rally behind, get a couple wins, this and that, interim good. Should have been done after that. Should have brought in a real head coach and moved on from there. But, they said the guys liked him and he's likable and he had a nice message. There's no messaging anymore. The Raiders are dead. They're possibly going to move on from their best player today in Max Crosby. We'll see as the trade deadline trickles along here throughout the day. But, it's another quarterback or another head coaching spot that, how does this guy still have a job? We're going to get into another one next. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of head coaches that should be on the hot seat if they're not already.
Yeah, and so I understand it's okay. I gotta collect my thoughts here. I understand Saquon Barkley leaving is so funny and hilarious because he went to the Eagles. And it's like, how do you let your running back go? But at least the Giants somewhat replaced him, and Tyron Tracy has looked good. The Las Vegas Raiders let Josh Jacobs just walk. Zamir White had 6 carries for 10 yards in this game. Alexander Mattison sucks. Like, they had no plan whatsoever of what they were going to do without Josh Jacobs. And I know the Giants will always get clowned for letting Saquon leave, but at least they kind of had a plan. The Raiders, this is terrible.
They really thought Zamir White was going to come in and be good.
It's so bad.
Yeah. I think they thought they were like, oh, we're fine. This guy will take over. And I know he might have had a couple nice games last year and was supposed to be the guy to propel them to not the next level, but, be that replacement valve. And it just hasn't worked out. Nothing has worked out for the Raiders this year. They lost Devontae Adams. They've taken a step back across the entire field. All they have right now is Brock Bowers, and that's it. But we touched on the head coaching hot seats, and I want to jump into another one. How does Matt Eberflus still have a job? Cardinals win 29-9 over the Bears, and it's just like I'm a broken record. How is he still employed? What is it? The front office? Is it Eberflus? Is it play? I mean, 29-9 after losing on that Hail Mary, your team should have been fired up, ready to go in this one. And it was the exact opposite.
I want to say the Bears have some kind of history with the McCaskey family, who I don't know how Virginia McCaskey, I think her name is still alive, but they don't fire coaches midseason. Matt Eberflus is bad enough, and your team is good enough where you should just break that cycle and say we're going to fire this guy midseason.
Cut ties now, try and change the season, try and get back on track for the playoffs because the rest of your division is probably going to make the playoffs.
Dude, the Bears I've been preaching their defense all year, top unit. And then offensively, like I've seen enough from Caleb Williams at his best to say, they could absolutely make a run in the playoffs. But the offense just looked so out of sync and so – I don't even know what the right word is. It just looks like a dumpster fire, the offense. And it looks like what Caleb was trying to do at USC, he's got to do now in the NFL. Just run around and hope for the best. There was one play where he's running around scrambling. DJ Moore, he's running a route, gets pushed out of bounds, and he just walked over to the sideline and goes to sit down on the bench before Caleb is even done with the play, before he even throws it away or whatever he does. Like, that's the kind of vibes that Chicago has right now. You got people walking over to the bench, sitting down before the play's even over. And that happens immediately after that game losing Hail Mary, as Matt brought up. Like, this team is mentally, and that starts with the coaching staff. They're just not in a good place right now. And they have all the talent in the world to be able to do it.
Right.
Yeah, they got to fire him.
They got to fire him. But we'll jump into what was supposed to be the game of the week. I don't know if it was, but Lions handled the Packers in a game I thought the Packers would show a little bit more life. Did you guys watch this game throughout? I didn't see much of it because I think it was on right when the Eagles were on. So I obviously was all eyes and ears on the Eagles game, but it didn't really look like the Packers ever really had a shot in this game.
No, everyone was scared of Jared Goff playing outside, and Jordan Love forgot how to play football when a little bit of rain came in Green Bay.
Yeah, that's right. This was a super wet, slippery, sloppy kind of game. But I was with you, Matt. I was watching the Jags and the Eagles during the 4 o'clock slate.
But you
Lions,
bring up,
Lions took care of business, man. I mean, there's
yeah.
really not too much else to say. The Packers, I think they were asleep heading into their bye week.
Well, you bring up, sloppy, wet, raining. That's the Lions' identity. I mean, they win those type of games. That's what they do behind Dan Campbell. So, that only favored the Lions that much more in this game. I mean, Dan Campbell, he's probably chomping at the bits to play in that kind of game. Yeah, I think that just fits kind of what their identity and what kind of team they are is, run the ball down your throat. We don't care what the weather is. We're going to execute our plays on both sides of the ball. And that's why they're looking like the number one team in the NFC right now and probably the favorite to make it to the Super Bowl on the NFC side.
I think they're the best team in the NFL.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, who'd they lose to?
They lost to the Bucks.
Bucks.
The second game of the season. It's a weird game.
Oh, this is a weird game.
Early in the season, Bucks were at full strength. Baker's been cooking. It's understandable.
Jared Goff
It's
put
understandable.
55 times. There's your problem.
How many times?
That's not your identity.
And look what he's done.
Smash mouth football.
Look what he's done since. We talked about it the other day. They had 50 points and he had 10 completions.
Yeah,
They're really just they really said, we have the best offensive line of football. Let's run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and we'll work some play action for you, Jared Goff. But we don't need you throwing the ball 55 times. That's how we're going to turn it over and lose football games.
I agree. But yeah, Lions number one team right now. I want to jump in to the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, where the Rams 26 take down the Seattle Seahawks. I think Jack and I were pretty much all over the Rams. Just better head coach, roster getting healthy. Brian had some faith in the 12th man, and the Seattle Seahawks doesn't get it done, though, as the Rams hold them off in overtime.
Seattle should have won this game. They had a third and short and field goal range in overtime, and they got stuffed twice. I was mad watching it. But yeah, that's what I get for taking a team from the West Coast to win a game.
Yeah, this was closer than it should have been, honestly.
Fuck. Seattle's a good team.
Puka Nacua getting ejected was so soft. And it came 2 minutes. I was watching Red Zone on one TV for the 4 o'clock games, and then I had the Eagles Jags on another TV. But that came minutes after Brian Burns had just gotten ejected from the Lions and Packers game. And back-to-back ejections for these NFL players. We used to see all-out brawls, and they were like 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. You know what I mean? I hate it. So Puka Nacua should have never gotten thrown out. Should have been a much bigger game for the Rams, and this should have never even been close. But either way, Seattle drops yet another game at home, and the 12th man's got to be livid.
The 12th man's dead. It's not even living anymore. I'm willing to say, if they keep losing at home, what advantage is that? There's none.
There's none, Brian. I mean, the Seahawks started out great, had a nice start to the year, rookie head coach. What's he going to do? Yeah, I think it's just safe to say that you were wrong, man. The Rams are better. The Cardinals are better. Seahawks are dead.
They're not dead. They're one game under 500.
Yeah, the Cardinals are one game above 500.
And they're leading the division.
Yeah.
There's so much room in that. No team's dead in the West yet.
Yeah, they're all good. They could all one of them could figure it out. I mean, we're talking
Yeah,
about
but you just said the Seahawks can't win at home. What do you think what are they going to do on the road?
They've won on the road. They
I'm
can't
not
win at
I'm
home.
not out
Really?
I'm not out on Seattle. I'm just they need to figure it out. And I think that can come eventually. I mean, look, the Niners are under 500 right now, aren't they? They need to figure it out and get right.
They also didn't have DK Metcalf, so they'll be. I think they'll be fine.
Fair. I'll give you that. They might be fine, but
Be
as
defending
as it
champions.
stands, the Rams and the Cardinals are both better than the Seahawks right now, which
Agreed.
obviously doesn't help Seattle. They're not going to get in the playoffs with that being how the division's shaping up.
Yeah. Also, this scheduling. I don't know what the NFL was doing here, but the Cardinals play the Seahawks in Seattle on November 24th, and then there's a week, and then the Seahawks play the Cardinals in Arizona on December 8th. That's
Dude, there
terrible.
was a game like that earlier, right? The Giants and the Commanders have already played twice.
Yeah, but they were a couple weeks apart. This is 2 times in 3 weeks.
No, I've seen that.
Yeah,
That's
I've seen
terrible.
it. It's
That's what the
weird
NBA
scheduling
does.
for sure.
I don't
Yeah,
like it, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, why don't
terrible.
we wrap up the show with our favorite dad quarterback, Joe Flacco? Has he finally hit a wall?
I think he feels bad for Anthony Richardson.
I mean, what was that last night, man? I mean, that is not the Joe Flacco I know and love.
I mean, the Vikings they've been a tough defense all year, bringing a lot of pressure, but that was not what we were looking for Joe Flacco. I mean, do you really want to put it on him? Like, do you want to put it on the receivers? Like no one really did much. I think Josh Downs led the team 6 catches for 60 yards. Like that ain't shit, you know?
I think as much as we like to make fun of Anthony Richardson for taking himself out of the game, some of those quotes, it seemed like he's really respected in that locker room. And I think they came out as like, why the fuck is he not our starting quarterback?
Who, Richardson?
Yeah.
You think the players lost that game
I don't think
because
they lost it on purpose. I think there was a sense of dread's the wrong word, but they were annoyed that he wasn't leading them out on the field, and the organization gave up on him. Even if it was like in the back of their minds, I think there was that little bit of like, why is he not a starting quarterback?
yeah. All right. I mean, I don't think that doesn't answer a lot of questions for me. I mean, I could understand that, but that doesn't answer why they can only score 13 points in this game for me.
The Vikings are good. I think we forgot about that because they lost two in a row, but they're still a good team.
I know they're good, but 13 points isn't not a lot of points in the NFL.
Yeah, they fumbled on that first drive, and
Oh,
then
that
McVay
was
missed a field goal. So they left some points on the board. They could have
yeah.
scored.
Yeah, you're right. And maybe that's why I'm having a hard time with it too. Their opening drive, they seemed like they were going to be able to get it any way they wanted for the entire night until that fumble. And then they looked terrible after that. From
Yeah,
then on out, they honestly just looked terrible.
it's a
It
weird
looked
game.
horrible. Yeah, it was definitely a weird game. I just, nail in the coffin for the Colts.
That division's pretty terrible too. The Texans don't look too good right now.
That's true. That is true. I guess they might have a little bit of life, but just weird quarterback controversy they got going on. It's like two quarterbacks that haven't played well. Now Flacco having this game on his resume. It's like, who do you go with next week? The chemistry's broken. I mean, who's making is Shane Steichen making the calls? Because do the players respect his decision making as he's just flipping and flopping these quarterbacks in and out?
Maybe not. The NFL is in a weird place right now.
It definitely is. Is he a guy who's on the hot seat?
Who?
No.
Shane
Shane
Steichen?
Steichen.
I don't think so. I think he's kind of had a tough hand to deal with.
Well, they drafted a quarterback in the top 5, top 10, and he's not very good, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, but you could also just you could give him time to learn under Flacco. I don't think that that's a bad call. I mean, I don't know if you necessarily want to give up on the season. I feel like if you start Flacco, you are giving up on the season. But
I don't know. The thing.
What quarterback gives him a better chance to win, though? Like, I feel like Flacco gives him a better, regardless of last night. Like, would Richardson have won that game yesterday? I don't think so.
No. Well, see, I think on a game-to-game basis, I would give it to Joe Flacco. But I said it earlier, the ceiling, we know what it is. If you want to go out there and go make a run in the playoffs, potentially win the Super Bowl, you need to have Anthony Richardson doing that for you. I don't think Joe Flacco's got that left in him.
No, I can agree with that, but we just haven't seen it from Richardson, and he's not really getting plays right now. What, Jack? You thought that was a pick?
Oh, I bet on Baker to throw an interception. It was right there in the first 10 minutes of the game.
I mean, I don't know how.
Justin Reed dropped it. I like Justin Reed too. I've liked him since he was.
It's a play he's got to make.
It's terrible. It's because I'm starting their defense in fantasy.
Definitely is, but I did skip over this game, Titans-Patriots. It's probably a game that's warranted to skip. Drake May playing better, forced it to overtime. I thought maybe we're going to win, but
just drop another one?
No, there's just another tip pass.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that was an ugly one. Worst game of the week, worst records. Both teams are rebuilding. Drake May already looks better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, that's wild.
Yes, he does.
I don't know how wild it is. We understand now, Daniel Jones. I'm finally over the hump. He's terrible.
Yeah, like really bad. You can tell, like, even the coaches don't believe in him. Like, he's out there on the field, like, rattled, and like it's like I feel bad for the guy at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's really just a bad scene.
He's just bad. I don't feel bad for him. He got paid millions of dollars. He's fine.
He did get paid fat. And it was all because they won that playoff game on the road in Minnesota. Set the franchise back 10 years.
Yep.
Insanity. But I don't know about you guys. That's all I have for the NFL recap show. We'll dive into some more diverse sports across the board on the Thursday show. But everybody enjoy NFL deadline day. If you're going to go exercise your constitutional right and vote, have fun doing that. But other than that, I'm Matt, Brian, and Jack. Always join me along for the action-packed ride. I'll see you guys in the next one for college basketball, college football, NFL preview with the confidence picks, and much more. Peace.
You are now in the mix with
We're bringing back the Where Did He Transfer to game in the next podcast. Get ready.
Leave Doug Peterson in Philly.